Welcome back to the channel, everyone. FF Wyggzz here today, bringing you yet again another video here to our first mock draft. In today's video, we're going to be covering rounds 5 and 6. Pretty standard video, not a whole lot of back and forth talk like the videos prior, but stay tuned for tomorrow's video because it gets interesting. But if you guys want to watch any shorter versions of these videos, make sure to check us out on TikTok, Instagram, as well as following us on X, and then obviously you have the YouTube shorts here on the channel, so check those on out, and we're gonna hop right on into it.
Kamara. I took Kamara over Kenneth Walker because if Kamara can stay healthy the whole year, I think Kamara is still going to be dominant. I still think he's going to be a pass catching running back. He's still going to get all the touches and all the touchdown looks that he has been getting. I think Kamara would have been a top 4 running back last year if he wasn't out for the first few weeks. And yeah.
Coming to me with Trey McBride, the way I look at the top tight ends, as in Kelsey, Laporta, Kincaid, McBride, like Kittle and Andrews, I look at them basically as all the same. Because if you think of all the guys that can finish as tight end one, it's kind of those 6. And if you look at it last year, Laporta was tight end 1, and tight end 5 was whoever, like Evan Ingram or whatever. They were all the top 5 were all split apart by like less than 1 per game. So realistically, they're all around the same. So getting to be able to get McBride in the 5th round after Laporta and Kelsey in the 2nd, I would much rather have McBride or Andrews or Kittle in the 5th round rather than the Kelsey or Laporta in like the 2nd or 3rd. So I thought that was I thought I kind of got gifted him there. Moving on.
You did. That was a good pick. I think that you made a great pick with McBride, because I honestly think that Kincaid and Kelsey went too early. That's just my opinion, because I like Kincaid, but I think that there's a few other tight ends that are gonna have a better year, and that's why I drafted Andrews. I know Andrews is coming off of an injury, but he did. I think him and Lamar just have a great connection, and I'll be honest, I was happy I was able to get him there when I did. Because had you not drafted McBride and he came to me, I probably would have drafted McBride, but I was happy to get Andrews. Um, and I took him over. The only reason I took him over Kyle Pitts is because I just think that if Andrews is healthy, he's showing consistency with Lamar, and I do think Kyle Pitts is going to have a great year with Cousins, but I got to give the edge to Andrews.
Lamar and Andrews are nuts together, so I don't disagree with that pick there.
Moving on. Brandon.
George Pickens. I think I kind of got gifted Pickens a little bit here. I thought he would have gone like earlier in the 5th round, being the clear-cut wide receiver 1 on that Steelers offense. I think he's actually gonna have a pretty solid year. Like, yeah, he had his issues last year and the year before, but that's just terrible quarterback play, in all honesty. And I think Deontay Johnson not being there now is, at least from a fantasy perspective, is going to be really good for Pickens. I think he's going to have a good, like, 1,300 plus yards this year and a decent amount of touchdowns. So I think getting him here, for me at least, was super nice, especially with the options I had on the table. I don't know if I would have really picked anyone else.
You like him over T. Higgins?
I do.
And Mark.
You know what? Pickens is a hard one for me because I think that he has a lot of growing up to do, but I do think he's really talented. My biggest question around him is, you know, how is his connection? How is Russell Wilson going to do in that offense? So Russell Wilson had some really great receivers. He had some really good receivers in Denver, and he didn't really show much. So if Russell Wilson can come out and play like the Russell Wilson of old, I think Pickens is going to have a great year. I think if Russell Wilson comes out and he plays like he did last year, I think Pittsburgh's going to have a tough year.
Fair enough.
Either way, he's got to throw to somebody, and he's got Pickens. So I can see why you took him there.
Then you came back and went Swift. I like that pick, taking him over Harrison Connor.
Honestly, my only other option there that I was thinking about taking would have been Stevenson, which might be viewed
Really?
as taking him too early, but I think of the four there, like Stevenson and Swift to me are at least the closer to compared to like Connor and Harris. I think just with Harris splitting a decent amount of reps with Warren last year, it was harder for me to pick him. And then I don't know, James Conner's just always been kind of inconsistent. So
Sure.
I think Stevenson would have been like probably a top like 8 running back last year if he wasn't hurt throughout different bulks of it.
Bob, tell me why Terry McLaurin is going to be the wide receiver 1 this year.
I think that Jaden Daniels, to me, is going to have the best year out of all the rookie quarterbacks. And I just feel like I don't know if that's going to calculate into wins for the Commanders, but I just think that McLaurin and him are going to build some chemistry. And I just feel like McLaurin's been in a really tough spot his years with Washington. I mean, the guy can't catch a break with, having a consistent quarterback. So now that they drafted McDaniels the way they did, I just think that he's gonna have a really good year. And I just felt like he was the best option there over some of the other wide receivers. Don't get me wrong, I love Jordan Addison, but I just I'm just not convinced and sold on him right now until I see what the Vikings quarterback play is going to be like.
So my thing with McLaurin is, right, so you say he has had bad quarterback play, but Sam Howell threw for 1,000,000 yards last year. Like, I don't know what exactly it was, but I'm pretty sure he was top 5 in passing. And like he still couldn't get it done. And every year it's McLaurin's so talented, but his quarterback situation just isn't great. And then he's just like, okay. But like Sam Howell was top 5 in passing last year, and like he still couldn't get it done. And now you bring in a rookie behind a terrible offensive line, a rookie quarterback that likes to run the ball. When Sam Howell was just chucking it up, and like we still weren't making it happen. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Let's just call a spade and move on here.
McLaurin still had over 1,000 yards, and he still had over 200 points from a fantasy football perspective. So not getting it done, I don't know what that means, but
so he finished as wide receiver 30. I don't know what you drafted him as here. What like wide receiver off the board he was, but like I mean like he'll finish as like around the wide receiver 30 and we'll call it good. Like was he great last year? No. Was he solid? Yeah. Do I think the situation
no.
got
But
better?
if you look at all the other receivers that were available,
I mean,
he was the best one at the time to draft.
He is around that 32 spot for wide receivers, so
yeah,
in this draft, so
yeah. I mean, Addison there, Rice, Hollywood Brown. Yeah. I mean, I agree. It's not a terrible pick. I just don't think he's going to be like I don't think he's gonna like exceed like that wide receiver 30 number. Like I feel like his ceiling is kind of capped. But
No, I disagree with you, but that's okay. We'll see.
I think like
That's
McLaurin's always had like an issue though having like a second solid receiver on the team to help free him up just as much. Like I think Daniels being able to be mobile as a quarterback might be able to open up something a little bit for McLaurin because I don't know, he just really hasn't had like a lot of extra talent around him.
yeah. Moving on. I picked Burrow. It was between him and Addison. I thought they had a pretty solid receiving core. And Joe Burrow sitting there. I like him over Dak and Love. even though it's relatively close. I like Burrow in the situation, even though I also really like Addison, but I think Burrow is going to be healthy this year and really good.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room. There is 7 tight ends who got picked over the second best tight end last year. Let's all just take a moment to think about this. All right. I think the Jaguars are going to be very slept on this year. I don't think a lot of people have faith in the Jaguars, especially now that Calvin Ridley is not with them. But I think that's going to open up even more opportunities for Evan Ingram. And I'm just going to let you know right now that Evan Ingram is going to do better than George Kittle, Mark Andrews, Kyle Pitts, and Dalton Kincaid. Thank you. Then with my next pick, Hollywood Brown. I know earlier that you said he is not the answer to the Chiefs, and I completely disagree. I think Hollywood Brown has shown with Lamar Jackson that he can be a really good wide receiver. I think the two people in this draft that are the closest to Tyreek Hill is Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown, and I think the Chiefs are really smart for getting Hollywood Brown, and they definitely know what they're doing. And
Well,
he's
I
going
don't
to be
disagree with you about with Ingram, because if you saw my AFC South dream team, Ingram was my tight end. So I do disagree with you that he's going to have a better year than Andrews, but I do agree with you that he's going to have a better year than the other tight ends. So I think you got him at a steal when you did. So I applaud your pick there.